Hello everyone, welcome to Learn Geography with Shyamal. Today we're going to discuss about geopolitics of world resources. This is an important topic in our political geography for UGC NET examination. Okay, in this class we are going to discuss the concept, definition and historical context of resource geopolitics, energy resources and geopolitics like oil, natural gas, coal and renewable energy, water as a strategic resources, minerals and strategic resources, food, land and agricultural resources, Arctic and maritime geopolitics, international organizations and treaties, India's resource geopolitics. Okay, let's start the class. First of all, definition. Resource geopolitics refers to the study of how natural resources like energy, water, minerals and foods shape political power, international relationships, conflicts and cooperation between states and non-state actors at the global scale. Okay, resource scarce, that means paradox of plenty, thus disease effect, examples Nigeria, Venezuela and Congo, weak institutions and corruption, over dependence on exports. Resource nationalism, state control over resources, nationalization policies, OPEC as an example, sovereignty versus FDI, political leverage tool. Resource wars, conflict driven by resources, Gulf War 1991, example oil, DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, coltan and minerals, Nile Basin tensions for water, South China Sea disputes. Okay, these are some example of resource geopolitics. Okay, energy resources and geopolitics. 1.7 trillion proven oil reserves barrels globally, more than 100 million barrels produced per day, 13 OPEC member countries and 40% world energy from petroleum. Major oil reserves and producers, Venezuela, largest reserves, more or less 303 billion barrels. Saudi Arabia, dominant producer, ARAMCO. Canada, tar sands, third largest reserves. Iran and Iraq, OPEC founding members. Russia, major non-OPEC producer. USA, shale revolution, energy independence. Middle East holds more or less 48% of proven global reserves. Geopolitical flashpoints, Strait of Hormuz, 20% of world oil transit. Gulf Wars, 1991-2003, resource-driven conflicts. Russia-Ukraine war, gas supply to Europe. US sanctions on Iran and Venezuela. OPEC Plus versus US shale. Price war dynamics, Belt and Route Initiative, China's energy security, shock points, Malacca, Bab al-Mandeb and Suez Canal. Water is a strategic resources. The wars of the 21st century will be fought over water, according Ismail Serra-Geldin, World Bank. Okay, transboundary river disputes, Nile Basin, Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia, for GERD dam conflict, Mekong River, China dams versus Southeast Asian nations, Indus Water Treaties 1960, India-Pakistan conflict, Tigris Euphrates, Turkey, Syria and Iraq, Brahmaputra, India, China, Bangladesh, Colorado River, US and Mexico water sharing. Water states and scarcity, 2.2 billion lake safe drinking water, WHO. Water states regions, MENA, South Asia. Groundwater depletion, Ogallala Aquifer, USA. Virtual water trade concept, Allen 1993. Water, food, energy nexus, climate change intensifying scarcity. Governance and agreements, UN at the United Nations Water Courses Convention 1997, Helsinki Rules on International Rivers, UNEP Global Water Governance Framework, Ramsar Convention, Wetlands Protection, bilateral treaties cover 300 globally, Integrated Water Resource Management, IWRM. Mineral and strategic resources, rare earth elements, REE, the 21st century strategy arsenal. China controls more or less 60% of the REE production, that means rare earth elements, and more or less 85% of the refining capacity used in electronics, defense systems, electronic vehicles and green energy. Export restrictions, major geopolitical leverage. Critical minerals, lithium, EV batteries, Chile and Australia, cobalt, electronics, DRC 70% supply, coltan, titanium, tantalum, mobile phones, Congo, uranium, nuclear energy, Kazakhstan, platinum, gold, group metals, South Africa, nickel, stainless steel, batteries. Mining geopolitics, China's Belt and Road, securing minerals, Africa as new resource frontier, Canada's critical mineral strategy, European Union critical raw materials Act 2023, US Inflation Reduction Act, supply chains, conflict minerals, DRC gold, coltan, cassiterite, blood diamonds, Sierra Leone, Angola, Kimberley Process Certification Scheme, Myanmar, Jet and James funding conflict, United Nations Security Council, sanctions. Key conventions, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, EITI, Extractive Industries Transparency, Dodd-Frank Act, Conflict Minerals, USA, African Mining Vision 2009, OECD Due Diligence Guidance. Food, land and agricultural resources. More or less 8 million people face hunger, one-third food produce is wasted, arable land under pressure from urbanization and climate change. Land grabbing, global land rush, foreign acquisition of agricultural land, Gulf states, China, India, major acquires, target countries, Sub-Saharan Africa, Southeast Asia. Grain report, 50 plus million hectares grabbed. Food sovereignty versus investment arguments, OECD principles for responsible agriculture. Food security and geopolitics, FAO, 4 pillars, availability, access, utilization, stability. 2007-2008 food price crisis, political instability, Arab Spring links to food price spikes, export bans, India rice, Ukraine wheat. 2022 WTO agreement on agriculture, AOA, G20 and AMIS, agricultural market information system. Global food trade patterns, USA, Canada and Australia, top grain exporters, Russia and Ukraine, breadbasket of the world. Black Sea Grain Initiative 2022, Multinational Agribusiness, ADM, Cargill, Bang. Green Evolution as a Legacy and Challenges, GM Crops Debate, Trade and Sovereignty. Climate and Food Nexus, Climate Change Reducing Crop Yields, IPCC to 6% loss per decade in productivity. Shifting Agricultural Zones Poleward, Drought Conflict Migration Nexus, Syria and Sahel. Sustainable Agriculture and SDGs to Zero Hunger, Carbon Framing and Precision Agriculture. Arctic and maritime geopolitics. Arctic holds more or less 13% of the world's undiscovered oil and 30% of undiscovered natural gas. Arctic sea ice declining at 13% per decade. Arctic sovereignty claims. 5 Arctic states, Russia, USA, Canada, Norway and Denmark. UNCLOS Article 76, extended continental shelf. Russia's 2007 seabed flag point at North Pole. Arctic Council 1996, 8 member states, military build-up by Russia and NATO nations. Svalbard Treaty 1920, Norway's sovereignty. Arctic shipping routes, Northern Sea Route, NSR, Russia's Arctic Passage, Northwest Passage, Canada controlled. Transpolar Route, via through North Pole, NSR, 40% shorter Europe, Asia versus Suez Canal. Russia charges transit fees on NSR, China's Polar Silk Route Initiative. South China Sea disputes, largest maritime geopolitical flashpoint, claimants China, Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia and Brunei, Taiwan. China's 9-day line, historical claim. UNCLOS Tribunal 2016 rule against China. Sparty Paracel Islands militarization, strategic 30% of global maritime trade. Then UNCLOS and Ocean Governance, UNCLOS 1982, Constitution of Oceans. Territorial sea, 12 nautical miles. Exclusive economic zones, EEZ, 200 nautical miles. Extended continental shelf up to 350 nautical miles. Deep Seabed Authority, ISA, ISBA. BBNG Treaty 2023, High Sea Governance. Okay, now international organizations and treaties. OPEC, established in 1960, Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, controls more or less 40% world oil production quotas and price stabilization, headquartered in Vienna. OPEC Plus includes Russia. IEA, established in 1974, International Energy Agency, founded post-oil crisis energy security for OECD, strategic petroleum reserves coordination, Paris-based. IRENA, established in 2009, International Renewable Energy Agency, promotes renewable energy globally, tracks renewable capacity, headquartered in Abu Dhabi, 160 plus member states. FAO, established in 1945, Food and Agriculture Organization, UN Specialist Agency for Security, Nutrition, Sustainable Agriculture, World Food Program Coordination. UNEP, established in 1972, United Nations Environment Program, Environmental Governance, Climate Negotiation Support, Natural Resource Sustainability Reporting. WTO, established in 1995, World Trade Organization regulates resource trade, agreement on agriculture, disputes on resource export, restrictions. Okay, India's resource geopolitics, third largest energy consumer in 2024, 83% oil import dependency, fourth largest oil producer globally, 500 gigawatt renewable target by 2030. India's energy security, IEA associate member since 2017, India's Strategic Petroleum Reserve, SPR, Visakhapatnam, Mangalore and Padur, Coal India Limited, CIL, world largest coal producer, ONGC and Oil India, upstream exploration, Actis policy, Asian energy connectivity, hydrocarbon exploration licensing policy, ACLP. Water diplomacy, Indus Waters Treaty, 1960 with Pakistan, Farakka Barrage tensions with Bangladesh, Brahmaputra China dams major concern, Tista River dispute with Bangladesh, Indian Nepal Hydropower Corporation, river interlinking project controversies. Mineral strategy, India holds 25% of world thorium reserves. Kolar gold fields depleted. Critical minerals policy 2022. Kabil Khanji Khanis Bidesh India Limited for overseas mining. Lithium discovery. RISI Jammu and Kashmir 2023 5.9 million ton. National Mineral Policy 2019. India's strategic initiatives. International Solar Alliance ISA co-founded with France. Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure CDRI. Sagar Doctrine Security and Growth for All India Regions. Indo-Pacific Economic Framework IPEF. Quad Supply Chain and Critical Mineral Corporation. Blue Economy Policy for Maritime Resources. Key thinkers, theories and UGC NET concepts. Heartland Theory by Halford Mackinder in 1904. Who rules the heartland, rules the world island, controls Eurasia, controls the world, basis for resource-driven geopolitics. Rimland Theory by Nicholas Spakman in 1944. He argued that coastal areas more important than heartland for global control, maritime resources and shock point central. Resource dependency theory by Previs and Singer. Periphery nations export raw materials at declining terms of trade. Core nations again values explains resource trap. Partial water, Tony Allen, 1993. Water embedded in traded goods. Nations import water-intensive products to conserve water. Key concept for water geopolitics. Peak oil theory, M. King Hubbard, 1956. Oil production follows bell curve. Peak then declines lead to energy security strategies and diversification policies. Resource curves by Ricard Atti, 1993. Countries with abundant natural resources often have poor economic growth, institutional weakness, thus disease effect. Okay, most known facts for NET exam. Topic, key fact, figure and source and treaty. Oil reserves, Venezuela largest, Saudi Arabia largest producer, BP statistical review. Water rights, India's water treaty, 1960, Indian Pakistan, World Bank, brokered. Rare earths, China controls more or less 60% production, more or less 85% refining. USGS, IEA reports. Arctic claims 5 littoral states Russia planted for like 2007. UNCLOS Article 76. Food security FAO 4 pillars availability, access, utilization and stability. World Food Summit 1996. Heartland Mackinder 1994. Who rules Heartland rules World Geographical Journal. OPEC founded 1960. Baghdad 13 members today. Founding conference ISA International Solar Alliance Indian France 2015. COP 21 Paris. Okay, geopolitics of world resources. Resources are central to global power dynamics. Energy, water, food, and minerals define 21st century geopolitics. UNCLOS governs ocean resources. Arctic and South China Sea are critical emerging flashpoints. China's Belt and Road and REE dominance represents new forms of resourceful diplomacy. India is a major stakeholder through ISA, Sagar Doctrine, and critical mineral partnerships. Theories by Mackinder, Allen, Russell Water, Ati resource cards are core using NET exam concepts. Okay, that's all for today. If you have any doubt and query, just let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Thank you.